Today, we're talking about 7 morning rituals of highly successful people. Let's go. Most people look at these morning rituals as some shit like magic shit that you're gonna do that's gonna automatically make you successful. So I've been doing my research, and one of the first things I researched was the Tools of Titans with Tim Ferris, and he had like 5 or so things that he's done there. Then there's this guy that's kind of like the morning ritual guru, and then you got like the early morning guys, and so there's a whole bunch of shit that people talk about waking up in the morning. The first thing I want to tell you that I liked what Tim said in this book was that you don't have to get them all done. There might be 5 or 6 things that's on your list. 3 or 4, call it good if that's what you're going to do, because life happens. It shouldn't be like a rule. And that's really hard for me to do, because if I say I'm going to do something, I try to do each and every one of those. But it's not a hard and fast rule. Just you want to have a ritual. And I think, to be honest with you, it's just to get your day rolling in a positive direction. So another thing is these rituals should really be something that you like. Don't make it some hard, fast shit that you want to like hardwire into your day. Just take some things and go, I like this, I like that. It's all about what you like. It's all about what gets you going. It's what makes you hard in the morning, right? This is what makes you really get up and go, and things that you may or may not like, right? So let's get started. Number 1, meditation, right? Be quiet. Silence is kind of like my thing in the morning. And almost everybody in this book talks about some form of meditation. Listening to music over and over again, the same song, listening to a certain playlist, whatever it is. But for me, why I like being quiet first thing in the morning and just kind of going over what I'm going to do for the day. In my head, I'm going over critical shit that I know that I'm supposed to do, what's most important. And the reason why I like doing that is because I'm fresh. Any other critical thinking to do, any other decisions I had to make, I haven't had any bad experiences for the entire day, and I'm totally fresh and I can think clearly. And I just like some time alone. A lot of times I'll just roll over, tell Nancy to rub my back for a good 20 minutes, and I'll just relax. And it's really weird because like you just woke up, but you're relaxing. But there's a difference between sleeping and just relaxing. And so that's what I'll do. I'll relax, close my eyes, and get my little 20 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes even longer, of just quiet meditation time. And a lot of other people do the same thing. Number 2, cold showers and just waking up and shocking yourself awake is what a lot of people do. I'm not doing all this cold water plunging and cold showering and shit like that, but a lot of people do exercise. Nancy's back there going, yeah, let's not try that. So a lot of people do exercise, which is what I'm going to start doing more often. Now, I already had exercise, and we'll talk about it. Stick around to the end, because you'll hear about the bonus section, what I'm going to add on the end about different things that I do myself, and one of them is exercising. But what I did is start to incorporate exercise in small doses. And again, in the book, I like that Tim says I just do 1 minute of exercise. And he probably does more than that, because I've seen him in the gym before. But what he's doing is just trying to trick you into saying, I'm only going to do 1 minute of whatever. And then after you've done 1 minute, you're going to keep going. And that's what I do. I tell myself I'm going to exercise for 2 songs on Spotify, and we'll tell you about that playlist at the end. And after those 2 songs, it's whatever's clever. Normally, I'll end up doing 8, 9, 30 minutes of exercise. And another thing that I do, and a lot of other people did on the list, was coffee, right? So that's kind of like, and Nancy's like, yep, we always love our coffee breaks, right? We love our coffee breaks. And the first thing in the morning I normally do with with some of my morning routines is the coffee break. Number 4, another one that Nancy and I do not like, and it's kind of weird, and I wanted to talk about this, and this is the wake up early. So Casey Neistat, which is one of my favorite vloggers right now, he wakes up at 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, see, that's not jiving with me so well. But what I like was we also talked about Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins, again in the book, talks about he doesn't know when he's going to get up. He doesn't have a set time because he travels a lot. So he's all over the place. And then someone like Gary Vee gets up at 8 o'clock in the morning. And he doesn't have like some big ass ritual, but they get up and they get their day done. What I like to say is after you've had the longest sleep, right? Because all of us take naps, power naps. It's after you've had the longest sleep. Whenever you wake up, just have a ritual at that point. It could be 4 a.m. It could be 2 in the afternoon. I don't know when my morning is. Number 5, Oprah Winfrey is known for it, and Nancy made it aware to me that she was known for her grateful journals, right? And she was. I read her book, and for 15 years, she did a grateful journal. She wrote down 5 things every day in the morning or in the evening of what she was grateful for. I did another class, and I can't remember who this guy was. I did a web class. There was a 30-minute TED, like a TED type talk. He was in a seminar, and he talked about how writing 5 things you're grateful for in the evening time when you come home kind of makes you change. And I noticed that it did me the same way. He said that during the daytime, and the day starts getting shorter and shorter, you know it's closer to time for you to go home, that you're like, oh shit, man, I gotta write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. So it makes you search out things that you're grateful for during the daytime. And that's a really good way to inject positivity into your day. That's another thing that I noticed among all the research that I've done. People are trying to inject positivity into themselves. Savoring is what Nancy and I call it. I savor a lot. I'm always grateful. Every day, all day, I'm grateful for just being alive. I'm grateful that I live in France. I'm grateful for the other night we were driving in from Monaco, and it was just late night. It was 3 in the morning, and we were listening to, I think it was Aerosmith or Journey or something like that. And it was just me and my girl driving late night, listening to some really good music on the highway. And it was like 3 in the morning, and I just looked at her and I goes, man, it just doesn't get better than this. Number 6, we all know Warren Buffett reads the newspaper 5 or 6 hours every day. I think it was Bill Gates that reads something like, I think it's something like 40 or 50 books a year. Then you got people like Ty Lopez talking about he reads a book a day. But here's the thing, right? What I want to do is, and again, stick around to the end because I'll talk about this a little bit more. But before I talk about anything else, I want to say this. Reading is one thing. Action is something totally different. Don't just read the fucking book. Read, and then if you see something that you like, something that you feel like you should implement into your life, implement. I read a book, and I promise you, man, Nancy mentioned that Sam Walton, she said that book really impacted me a lot. And the reason why she can tell you, because I don't even remember, but the reason why she could probably tell you that is because I probably implemented his shit right after I read the book. And it was a big impact on my life. But don't just read the book and go, man, that was so awesome, without injecting that shit that you read into your life and taking action. Success leaves clues, and a lot of people read biographies by different people. Like I read the biography on Malcolm X. Number 7, and that's revisiting your goals. Now, Grant Cardone and I believe it was Zig Ziglar, gotta have those goals. Zig Ziglar and Grant Cardone and a few other people like Brian Tracy, a lot of other people, these are successful, highly successful business people, revisit your goals in the morning and before you go to bed. Now, I remember the first time I heard Grant Cardone say it, I'm like, this is some bullshit, I promise you, man. I'm a dick when it comes to like listening to what people say. But Nancy will also tell you, as my little amen corner, that my entire goal in life is to listen to what these dudes say and say, that shit doesn't work, fuck you. And so I try everything if I feel like it resonates with me. So I started revisiting my goals in the daytime and in the night. And Nancy told me the other day, I didn't realize it. She goes, you know what, dude? When you write down your goals in your journal, that shit gets done fast. She didn't say it just gets done. She said fast. And that is because I revisit my goals in the morning and in the evening. Bonus time. Here's what I do with my morning ritual. The first thing I do is I wake up in the morning and I just sit still and don't say anything. This is my form of meditation. I don't sit here and go home and I don't do any of this woo-woo shit. I just wake up and like I said in the beginning, I just sit there and I'm quiet. The next thing that I do in the morning is I write in my journal. First thing in the morning, sometimes I skip, sometimes not every day, but I do write in my journal quite often. And I'm going to write down my goals, my daily goals, my weekly goals, and I go over what I've accomplished and what I haven't accomplished. And I guess it's kind of pre-programmed in my head. Let me tell you a quick story, and I didn't want to tell this story, but Nancy says I should. A long time ago, man, I was in a really dark place, probably the lowest point in my life. I was in a homeless shelter, and I was probably it was the worst time in my life ever. And I had this little island magazine, and I used to run around with that little island magazine and read it. I had it in tatters. It was in my back pocket. And I had a regular notepad, a yellow legal pad, the long joints that you buy from Walmart. And I wrote down all of my goals and shit that I was going to do once I got out of that situation. Fast forward like 5 years later, and I had actually lost my luggage in Panama, and they finally gave it back to me. And in that luggage, it was like 2 years later, I hadn't visited that notepad in a long time. When I looked at that notepad, I had accomplished at least 90%. Panama was on the notepad. 90% of what I've written down. Journaling is amazing. And I'm not going to give you some scientific shit, but if you do look at, they say that 90% of what you retain is shit that you do. Writing it down with your hands is much better than a computer or anything else, or just writing it down old-fashioned pen and paper. Google the shit, you'll see. The next thing that I do is exercise. Now, I don't promise myself that I'm going to do a rock exercise list of 15 hours a day. All I tell myself, like I told you earlier, I listen to Johnny Cool. I got this from Casey Neistat. I listen to Johnny Cool, and I have my own playlist. Shoot me a message, comment below if you want my playlist, my workout playlist. I have 3 awesome playlists, and Johnny Cool on Spotify. We just started listening to that. And so I listen to 2 songs, bare minimum, and get my workout on. The next thing I do is read. Now, every day, I'm going to get it like 45 minutes of reading in. If I know whatever time approximate time I'll be waking up. I'm going to wake up at 5, so that means I got to wake up at 4:30. I wake up at 4:30, be quiet. 5 o'clock, I'll get up, and then I want to read for 45 minutes, just an hour before. And they call it becoming 1% better. Improve yourself 1% every day. And how you do that is by sharpening the saw. I read that in Stephen Covey's book, I always fuck this name up, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I believe that's the name of the book. And they talk about sharpening the saw. That's something you always want to do. And it doesn't have to be reading a book. Sometimes we do seminars. Sometimes we do workshops online. It just depends on what it is. Sometimes we get a YouTube video. It could be a Zig Ziglar course from way back in the day. We listen to audio, Brian Tracy, you name it, Jim Rohn. It doesn't matter. And implementing this shit, remember to implement though, but reading really does help, especially books like this. The Tools of Titans is so awesome because it's not just about one person. It's about 200 or 300 people, and you can watch everybody's habits, and you can kind of take a log down and find out what everybody does and what resonates with you. Like maybe cold plunging like Tony Robbins, maybe that resonates with you. He dunks himself in ice cold water for 30 to 60 seconds every day to shock himself in the morning. I'm not doing that shit, but you know, if it works for Tony and if you like it, get to it. I feel like it's the time that I tell you to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, comment below. Let me know what your morning rituals are, and maybe you can add to my list. Man, hit that like button if you like this video, and hit that bell button if you want to get notified when I upload these videos. As you guys can see, I'm doing some frequent shit right now. And I also want you to remember, success is an everyday thing. No excuses, no explanations. Let's get it done.